I'm really down. I've been told to raise my voice, but due to having got a deputy, I had to come here today. So please bear with me. Okay, so before I go any further, my name is Councillor Anne Taylor and I'm the chair of the committee. So I'll go around and ask members to introduce themselves.
Good morning everybody, I'm Jo Sykes, I'm an independent member. If we have a fire alarm, please be awake for me, I'm on crutches.
Good morning everyone, I'm Councillor Nicola Lloyd and I'm from Leeds. Good morning everybody, it's my first meeting and I'm Gwen Page from Wakefield.
Good morning, my name is Dr. Fazal from Corderdale.
I'm Councillor Brenda Monteith from Corderdale.
Morning, Andrew Wright, Head of Force Performance for West Yorkshire Police.
John Robbins, Chief Constable, West Yorkshire Police.
Alison Lowe, Deputy Mayor for Policing and Crime in West Yorkshire. Wendy Stevens, Research and Performance Manager for the Combined Authority.
Morning, Rob Forrest, Head of Police and Crime, Combined Authority.
Morning, Trevor Lake, Independent Member.
Good morning, Anthony Smith, Kirk Police Council.
Good morning everyone, Councillor Gwen Lowe from Kirk Police Council.
Hi everyone, Sue Yates in Bradford.
Good morning, I'm Chris Hayden from Bradford.
Good morning, I'm Councillor Jackie Ferguson from Wakefield.
Good morning, Sharon Fraser from Wakefield, Legal Advisor to the panel.
And I'm Samantha Wilkinson, Police and Crime Panel Officer.
Thank you. You are welcome. Also welcome other officers that sat up in the company. So we've got an item 1. We've got vacancy for a deputy chair. As we all know, Councillor Master has stood down from being deputy chair. So before we go into the meeting, I'm going to appoint a deputy because at some point I'll have to hand over to the deputy to chair for me. We have 2 candidates that put themselves forward, but we just suggested if members would agree for me to do a joint deputy chair with board members. It's only 2 months leave for the next AGM, so we'll have 2 deputies, but you have 2 then 1. So all members in favour of we having 2 deputies, and the 2 persons, Anthony Simmons and Jackie Ferguson. We all know 2 amazing person on the panel and they contributed so much to the panels, and it's hard to choose one over the other, to be honest. So if we have a joint chair, deputy chair, I think that would make it easier than we program and put members in sticky situations that they don't want to be in. So all those in favour for a joint deputy chair to appoint? No? Those in favour? Joint.
Chair, can I just clarify? So, the nominations are myself and Jackie, who are nominated independently. As the chair says, there are 2 meetings left before we need to appoint the chair and deputy chair again. So I would be happy to have a joint deputy and deputy chair 1 meeting each, the ones that remain. That's so I don't know if Jackie wants to speak to that as well.
Absolutely, I would be happy to do a joint chair for the time that's left. For this period.
So, is members in favour of a joint deputy chair? Could you please raise your hands? Okay. Those against? Okay. Any abstention? I'm sorry, it's all in favour of a joint deputy chair. So, welcome Anthony and Jackie for 2 months. So as I mentioned earlier, that we were decided to take on this month to chair the meetings for me and Matthew. So Anthony, could I ask you to chair the meeting, please? Thank you.
I'm assuming
Thanks, Anthony. I'll hand over to Councillor Hunter.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, panel. Could we just, I think we need to rewind just to apologies for absences.
We've had apologies from Councillor Andrew Carter.
Okay, thank you very much. So,
Sorry, there should have been apologies from Nusrat, but she said if you'd not received them, I could pass that on as well.
Okay.
She's not well yesterday when I spoke to her.
thank you, Councillor. Item 3, to approve as a correct record the minutes of the meeting of the Police and Crime Panel held 7th of February 2025 and deal with any matters arising. Do we have a show of hands here?
Yeah,
Trevor?
thanks, Chair. I just had a query on item 6.17, question of Councillor Castle, please. I think that perhaps needs to reflect that Councillor Carter was asking a question based on information he'd received from outside of the meeting. And that was not in the papers for all members. I'm not quite sure how you word that, but if that can be reflected accordingly. Thank you.
Is that anything we can pass?
That's fine. We can add in there on the basis of information that you received from outside the meeting.
Are there any further comments on this item from any of the members of the panel? Any other notes or amendments? So, all those in favour of approval, please raise your hand. Thank you. Are there any matters arising? No, thank you. We shall move on to item 4 then. To note any items which the Chair has agreed to add to the agenda on the grounds of urgency. Any urgent items? No, thank you. Item 5, any declarations of interest? No, which moves us on to item 6, which is the performance monitoring report for quarter 3. So over to Alison to introduce this. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks very much. Really excited to present this first iteration of the new performance measures that Wendy has developed in partnership with Councillor Anthony Smith. So thank you, Councillor Smith, for all your support in developing these new measures. And obviously, West Yorkshire Police have been in support too. I think they're really good, but obviously I'd be really happy to get your feedback. So these measures are not just looking at what we've done in Leeds and Bradford and Wakefield, it's looking at what West Yorkshire, the whole force is doing compared with some of our most similar forces, which I think is much more helpful in getting that strategic understanding and giving the context of policing. And then obviously we've got some community measures which are emerging, so all the data that we need is not there yet, but hopefully it's beginning to show a picture of life in West Yorkshire and some of the challenges that we experience here in West Yorkshire. And as we get more and more data, we'll be able to bring that to life even more. And I think it'll be very helpful in understanding the position, not just of West Yorkshire Police, but obviously all our partners across West Yorkshire. So, yeah, really happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Alison. Can I just start by thanking Wendy and everybody else involved in pulling all this data and report together. I think it's a really welcome change of direction personally, and I hope the panel agree. What it seeks to do is link the key themes within the plan through to the data and give us a narrative around that and a high level view with the detail to back it up behind it to give us the ability as a panel to see how the Mayor is performing against those particular things and do our job in a critical background and holding the Mayor to account. So I think we have a question from Nicole.
Thanks, Chair. Yes, I want to add my thanks as well, Wendy. I know this will have taken some time, and sitting on the panel for the few years I have, it's fantastic. So thank you from me and my printer. Just on in relation to ASB at point 4.2, the report states that ASB is on the decrease which obviously we're all happy to hear that. But the public perception is that it's on the increase. So we had a brief discussion about that. Just around that, do you think it's in relation to public's perception of ASB? Can you just give some clarity around why you think that's the case?
Yes, so I'll let Wendy come in on the detail of the satisfaction data. But I think it was ever thus that when someone talks about the social behaviour, it becomes a bit of an urban myth, doesn't it? So this happened to them, and then suddenly it happened to 10 other people, and then it happened to 100 other people. And so people are very conscious of the prevalence of ASB in communities. Might just not be in their community, but they have a fear that antisocial behaviour is present and it's a problem, even if they've not been directly impacted by that. And I think that's fair enough. You know, the fear of crime it is an important element of how people feel, and we know that the feelings of safety have decreased nationally, but also here in West Yorkshire. And we obviously have to work with West Yorkshire Police to get the right data and the right communication strategy out there so that people understand that what they feel is not necessarily the reality of the situation. But we know that actually antisocial behaviour incidents have slightly increased, although antisocial behaviour as a crime has come down. The good news is that we're going to be able to compare and contrast much better in the future. So members may have heard of the Neighbourhood Policing Guarantee that the Home Secretary talked about a few weeks ago when she launched the new crime and policing bill. This is a pot of money that's going to fund the 13,000 new neighbourhood policing resources, whether that be police officers, PCSOs, specials, or other staff. And what she wants to do is create a dashboard, a framework around that money, so that she's got sight of what each force is doing in terms of not just crime and incident numbers, but also abstractions. Our force is abstracting neighbourhood policing officers to other bits of the force, for example, but also how many ASB reviews are being undertaken. And so we will be able to get that national data in the next maybe 3 or 4 months, because it starts in April, those frameworks. That framework is being developed, and so West Yorkshire Police will also have to develop its data to be able to speak to that framework, so we'll get that information and we'll get some national comparisons, because currently we can't get national comparisons because different forces collect different things, so we don't all speak to the same history. But on the satisfaction data, I'll hand over to Wendy.
Yeah, so I think, as you've said, it looks like it's going down, but if you look at the ASB crimes that is on it, and then look at the total crime that's at the top of that same page, you'll see there's a similar pattern. So that seems to tell me that the ASB crimes, it's due to a lot of it is due to the crime recording of it, rather than it going down. But that's really hard to tell without anything to compare, because with the total crime we've been able to compare with our most similar forces and see that similar pattern, whereas with this we haven't yet, but in the future, as Alison has said, we should be able to have those comparisons, which will help us understand more about the picture of ASB.
Thank you. Any more? No. Just following on from that theme, I believe that there is there's a pot of funding around ASB hotspots, which I think is due to end. Is it this month?
Yes, so this is so the hotspot funding and the grid funding were combined, and we've just had an email confirming our allocation, and I understand we're doing the detailed breakdown of that money to make sure we've got the same as last year. We're expecting the same as last year. So the Violence Reduction Partnership monies are the same as last year, so we're expecting that to be the case. So it ends each year because it's an annual allocation, but we have just had the email confirming that we're going to get a second pot. That's right, isn't it, Chief Minister?
Yeah, that's excellent news. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Nicole, do you have another question? No? Trevor?
Yeah, thanks. questions on the tab investigations?
Yeah, we're going to paginate next time. Tracy's already raised that.
I mean, just whilst we do that, firstly, I think it is a good report. I like the way it's laid out. I think it's very good, particularly for new members on the panel to see the trends. You can see at a glance, and the MSG, or MSF as it used to be, I think, in the old days, is useful as well to get a comparison as to where we are. But my question, I think it might be to do with the scale of the numbers on a positive outcome rate for stalking and harassment. It just shows us sort of a drift from the norm there, and I wonder if you could just explain it a little bit.
Yeah, so obviously these are areas of scrutiny that the Mayor and I undertake in a really rigorous way, and the Stalking Coordination Unit reports into the Women's Safety Unit so that we can get some better understanding of what's happening, how we can support the Stalking Coordination Unit. We do know that there was some staffing reductions in there temporarily that have now come back up to their previous numbers, and hopefully that strength will help us to improve this metric. Let me just find the outcome. Yeah, so we'll let John come in with the detail.
Yeah, so it's in this crime type, not in every crime type, but in this crime type, affected by crime vector integrity, because we record more stalking and harassment offences than other forces proportionately, because we're positive in our reporting process of it. So as you'll see, in terms of those outcomes around rape, and sexual offences are where we are. But it's significantly lower compared to the MSG for stalking and harassment. But the positive of that is the actual numbers are not reducing, so we're maintaining the numbers of prosecutions. It's just recording, we record more than other offences, so percentage-wise we're in a different place. So I prefer to have the high recording level and a lower percentage than actually have a high percentage, but not be recording as many.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah, but we work with the Women's Safety Unit to also make sure that the Stalking Coordination Unit is doing its job in bringing up the standards of investigation, understanding what we could be doing better. So it's not just about being complacent that we've got this high recording, it is about what can we be doing on a practical basis to improve those outcomes. And that's a regular feature of the reporting in from Women's Safety Unit. In fact, we only met last week. So I've got really good oversight of the work that we're doing to work alongside West Yorkshire Police.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I think it might just be worth if we could get a re-explanation of the comparisons that we make with similar forces and how those choices are made, just so the panel's clear as we go forward with this new reporting structure. So I don't know whether you can speak to that.
Yeah. So the most similar forces, what the Office of National Statistics have put this together, and what they look at is not just crime and population and all those sort of things, but they take in, I think, do you know how many measures they look at under the MSGs? I think there's about 15 measures, if I remember correctly, they look at, and then they look at all the forces, and then what they do is they look at the forces that are grouped together. So you're comparing with those forces that have a similar population, a similar crime mapping, a similar child protection, those sort of issues as well. So they look at all of these issues together and put it together in our most similar forces. There is still quite a bit of disparity, we have to say, and so we tend to compare with the larger forces, West Midlands, Greater Manchester, but we've got a problem at the moment because some of the data isn't available for Greater Manchester, for example. So that's why we use that full group of most similar forces. But you can see the Chief nodding. There is quite a big difference between, say, us and Northumbria, for example. and that is shown in some of these. But then when we have tracked some of the data, what we find is that the likes of Merseyside, for example, aren't on our most similar group, but in some areas their crimes is more similar to us than the like of some that are in our most similar group. So this is it's a data-driven look at how we compare with other courses, but that doesn't mean they're the only ones we look at, because we do compare with the others as well when it's needed.
Yeah, we've got access to a national Power BI system, which even I can look at. Well, Wendy lets me. And I can look at it anytime I like. And yeah, it gives you every single force's performance against a whole series of crime types, and so we can see where we are for things like homicide and anything like.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, can I just ask a follow-up? So on serious violence measures, knife crime, why wouldn't Greater Manchester be in there?
Because they don't provide the data.
Why would they not do that?
You'll have to ask Andy Burnham.
They had a new...
They've had an issue with their computer systems over the last decade. They had an issue with the previous computer system. They've then gone on to this new computer system that's been subject to much scrutiny, and that's got probably more difficult problems for them, and so they're now trying to still work their way through it.
Thank you. I just had a question around EDI and the force reflecting our communities. And it's in particular relation to the ethnic minorities in senior ranks in West Yorkshire Police. Just a comment from the Deputy Mayor on whether she's happy with the direction of travel there.
I'm not. So just to say that I have raised this several times with Chief Constable, and I've met with Osman Khan, the ACC for People, because what I think is that there should be, we've got a positive action team, and with there's about 500 officers from a BME background, black minority ethnic background, black Asian minority ethnic background. For me, if you've got a positive action team, then you should be having at least 10% of your staff in a positive action process, which would mean at least 50 black Asian or minority ethnic officers in a process from PC to sergeant, sergeant to inspector, and so on and so forth. And so I have been speaking to Osman Khan about that. I understand that West Yorkshire Police is developing a positive action programme. Clearly there's other things involved in helping people go through those career processes. For example, having a safe, psychologically safe working environment. So things like the 2-day DEI training is really important to that. I'll be attending that training next Monday and Tuesday to see it for myself. And lots of other work with the networks that I know is being undertaken, and I meet them all regularly, and I'm going to the Caribbean Association next week. So there's lots of work, but we're not where we want to be, and I see GMP are quite good at collecting that data, and obviously doing much better than we are in those middle ranks, where I think is we've done quite well in the sort of historically in the ACC ranks, but we seem to stick at the Chief Inspector and Superintendent, and that's where we need to see more people of colour coming through. Obviously, let's look at the overall numbers, they're small, so let's keep the focus on recruiting more people from all the communities that we serve. But yeah, I think there's some more positive action when we can do that focus.
Thank you very much. And are there any other questions? If I could just maybe wrap this section up with just a general comment on to the panel that this type of reporting is obviously new. It's a work in progress. In my link role, I will continue to work with Wendy and feedback any recommendations from the panels to how we can improve them. Wendy's already working on some things we discussed a week or two ago. But I'd like to thank Wendy again for all the work that's gone into this. I think it's a really positive step forward. So thank you. Yeah.
I think we did discuss it in regards to stop and surgery.
I think yeah. So there are a few items which come later in the agenda, which link back into this report. Is it, I think, item 7? Which is the next item, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. We will be referring back to this report. Thank you. So we will move on to item 7. Find the agenda again. Which is the police and crime plan priority. Number 1, keeping people safe. So, Alison?
Yeah, thank you very much. So hopefully you've all now got a copy of the new police and crime plan. Thank you to those of you who came to the launch, where we discussed this in lots of detail. We agreed when we looked at the new performance framework that we would focus our reporting on what we were doing to achieve the outcomes in the plan. And so this is priority 1, keeping people safe. Anna, who I think is here, is responsible for this paper, and we've tried to focus on the work that the police and crime team are doing to both hold the police to account, but also in terms of our own delivery, the activity that we're undertaking to deliver this priority. So hopefully people are ready, and I've got some questions for me.
Thank you very much. I believe Trevor.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, very good report. Thank you for the information. Got a lot of positive actions in there. My question is, well, there's 2 things. Firstly, on item 3.4 about cybercrime. As it happened, I happened to be at Leeds University during Fresh Week and called in and saw the stand in cyber, which was very good, and I think it's very positive that that work's happening. But my question is around district partners at 3.3, and a lot of work there to go with partners, and it's really a general question about your comfort level given the number of initiatives that are linked up with partners and the economic difficulties that many councils and partner organisations find themselves in currently, and how comfortable they are with their ability to work with you to deliver the impressive outcomes that you're looking for here.
So this is 3.3.
Sorry, well, it could be 2.3.
2.3, yeah. That was, I was confused because it's a completely different point. Let me just go back to 2.3. Yeah, I mean, obviously, with Leicester and West Yorkshire, we've got some amazing partners, particularly our local authority partners. We all meet regularly as a system. I think we've tried to become a system rather than adding the Violence Reduction Partnership as the sort of engine, but using then the serious violence duty of all 5 local authorities, fire, health, etc., to bring all the activity together that we need to make serious violence elimination a reality. And I can give you loads of examples, and safeguarding is one of them, where all the partners are totally committed, recognise their role as part of that system together. It's not about one person being more responsible than another, although under safeguarding the Chief Constable is leading that partnership at the moment, but it could be any one of us, and all of us are committed 100%. Obviously, one of the things that is problematic for our partners is funding, and the Mayor does try where she can to obviate the gaps in funding that local authority partners experience. We talked about this a little bit last time. Some of the different bids that we put in to support, or local authority partners putting bids and then we support, but the money that the Mayor is able to bring, so for example the CRSTS monies, which have been supporting the highways delivery of all our 5 local authority partners, has been a blessing. So that's £25 million that's come from the Mayor. So we do recognise that the Mayor brings some additionality to our partners, but we've also got that convening power where if we've got a partner who's not understanding their role and responsibility to the whole, to the system, Tracy does have those convening powers to bring those partners to the table and have open and honest conversations. So it'll never be perfect because you're only as strong as your weakest link, and obviously people move about, we get new people coming in who might not understand the West Yorkshire way, but we very quickly get them to understand the West Yorkshire way, which is that we all work together as one system for the benefit of the people of West Yorkshire.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good example, isn't it, on the hospital admissions page on the previous pack that we looked at, the West Yorkshire figures for hospital admissions for assault with sharp object, significantly better than some of the most similar groups because of the work we've done with the partnership range. It just concerns me the pressure, particularly the NHS is under for their bit of the equation, which I'm sure is respected elsewhere. You've covered that. So.
Yeah, and I should just add that obviously we've got a brilliant partnership with the Integrated Care Board, and Fatima Khan Shah, the Mayor's Inclusivity Champion, is funded to work across the Mayor's Combined Authority and the ICB to try to deliver some of the health inequality agenda that the ICB has, because for all that they've got some power and control over the health elements, for things like housing, economic development, they have less impact. So that was a decision taken by Rob Webster and the Mayor nearly 3 years ago to bring in that investment, substantial investment. We've also got a health improvement partner in WICA who works alongside Fatima and health colleagues to try to understand how we can generate more positive outcomes in relation to health inequalities, how we can work together in partnership to drive that health equity piece. So we haven't got health as part of the Mayor's responsibilities, but we have got an understanding of the power that the Mayor brings to that conversation. And yes, the detail around the knife data and hospital admissions is a brilliant example. There's so much more going on that I think members would be really pleased to hear about.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you for the question, Trevor. Councillor Lloyd.
It's just a comment from me really. Well done on your push to share cybercrime awareness far and wide. I know days gone by, cybercrime wasn't even recognised as a crime, so the work you've done on that, well done. And also in relation to safer travel officers, I know sitting on Safer Leeds Exec Board, there's been a lot of successes across Leeds, so just thank you for that and hope it continues.
Thank you so much. And the Safe Travel team is a massive success story across the whole of West Yorkshire. I hope the Chief Constable will agree that their calls for service now in bus stations is massively reduced. I was in Keighley 2 weeks ago and met the Safe Travel team there, a PCSO called PAL, and I was there with the then Mayor 12 months earlier to hear all the problems that the bus station was facing, all the antisocial behaviour. I was speaking to some of the retail outlets who talked about the shoplifting and the problems they were experiencing. It's done a 180. So it was like a church. It was calm, it was quiet, people were going about the business, and I think the impact of the PCSOs and the Safer Travel team there has been transformative. I spoke to some of the retailers again. They said it's been brilliant, and I know that that's the case across the whole of West Yorkshire. And where we have then got problems, the Sergeant Cotton, he is able then to deploy those resources. And you've given me a really good opportunity to say that the app, the MCAD app, has got a drop-down Safer Travel tool, which we're pushing out again. So it's been there for 2 years, and the public engaged with it when it was first rolled out, and there's been a bit of drop-off. So we want now for the public to know that if you've got an MCAD, it's got a tool in there where you can tell the Mayor where the problem bus stations are, where the problem bus routes are. If you've got a number 7 bus or whatever it is, where there's a group of rowdy people every night at 7 o'clock, or you've got young people maybe being a bit noisy or intimidating people, or you've got someone who's a bit strange on that bus that you're a bit worried about. The Safe Travel team sergeant accesses that data, and it's a live access to that data, and then he will deploy his resources depending on what the data set's telling him. So it's people power in action. If you see there's a problem, you can put that on the app, and Sergeant Cotton can then say, right, I'm going to put X many resources onto that network or that number 7 bus, whatever it is, and then we can deal with those issues. So it has been transformative, and obviously great thanks to West Yorkshire Police for supporting this initiative. I think the people of West Yorkshire have really seen the benefit of this.
Councillor Fazal, I just wondered if you wanted to pick up on the question that we, because I think it related to 5.3 in the report and back to the actual stop and search data in the report.
I think the question was whether you feel there are enough sufficient safeguards within the system so that it's fair and transparent with regards to ethnic minorities.
They're looking at me. Yeah, yes, for me, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. There are ethnic minorities when stop and search takes place, in essence. Because historically there has been a lot of hoo-ha with regard to stop and search. So if you are able to give us update, please.
Thanks very much. So over the last 3.5 years, we have developed a really rigorous and I think transparent data set that we report on every 6 months on Stop and Search. And so if anyone wants to come to our live streamed want to watch it live or want to come in and watch it in person, you will see the really high quality data set we now get from West Yorkshire Police relating to Stop and Search, not just in our community, but of young people, of stop and search of intimate body parts. We've got lots and lots and lots of data now so that we can put those, that scrutiny into West Yorkshire Police. And as a result, actually, the disproportionality of black communities has slightly reduced. And we're nothing like the national picture. I think the national picture is something like 4.1. Yeah, 2.7 here in West Yorkshire. I am conscious that, we mentioned the hotspot money and the GRIP money, that a lot of their activity does go to those areas of West Yorkshire where knife crime has traditionally been a problem, and that's where the recording of knife crime has been a problem, which have high proportion of BLE communities living there. And so a lot of stop and search is happening in those communities, and that is driving up the proportion of the disproportionality. And so that is definitely something that we need to be paying attention to, and I do talk to Lee Berry, who oversees the Objet Lock work about that. I'm really pleased to say that Lee Berry has just taken on the PRAP operational oversight, so that's actually going to be something that he will be accountable formally for. So, but I think it's good that we've got somebody who's responsible for serious violence also having now an understanding of the impact of stop and search as a tool, which is a welcome tool, which we all know can work, but he understands that that can lead to disproportionality. So I think we'll get some better joined up thinking and some training and planning around that. There is loads of training, by the way. There's lots of work that West Yorkshire Police has been doing, because we have been having these conversations for a long time. But disproportionality without explanation is problematic for us, does lead to less trust and confidence in those communities across West Yorkshire. So there'll always be something that Tracy and I want to do something about. And nationally, I sit as the race disparity, equality and human rights lead for the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners. So I lead on this work nationally, and I bring quite a lot of that knowledge back down to West Yorkshire and up to the APCC, because we're doing some good stuff here as well. I wonder if the Chief Minister wants to add anything more.
I think the question was, are you satisfied there's sufficient safeguards in place to prevent discrimination? Are you satisfied there's sufficient safeguards in place around disproportionality? Yes, I am. I'm absolutely satisfied. We've been doing this since 1984. It's been a long journey. There are views and perceptions and feelings, some of them evidence-based and community trauma-based, which are absolutely valid and we're responsive to those. But there's others that are there, so not all disproportionality means discrimination. And there's, so short of other people coming up with other ideas, so we've done the training, I think, 5 if not 8 times in my career. We're now on body-worn video. We've now got an app for complaints. We have every black stop search reviewed. We have members of the public reviewing them all. There's a whole structure and a process. A third of our stop searches result in an arrest because it's the right thing to do, because they've got drugs or weapons. 2/3 don't. If you wind it right back, I don't wish to be too contentious by winding it back, the reason for stop search was to stop police officers arresting people. So the grounds are virtually tantamount to arresting somebody, and the stop search is meant to enable that arrest from not happening or to confirm your grounds. So you can argue that both ways, but now a third of stop searches meet with a positive result. And then we can have the debate that the sure reason how we can stop disproportionality is by not doing them. But we're not going to do that because we're trying to protect people and support them. So longer answer, yes I am, but we're also open to ideas and open to scrutiny and accountability, which is absolutely right, because the latest one was a QR code, which we haven't thought about before, that came from young people. That's great.
Thank you for that answer, both of you. I'm extremely pleased, because as you know, historically there has been a lot of activity, and it's the perception and the safeguards that you just both of you have mentioned. It's an eye-opener for me. I think well done to you. And we need to send a positive message to our communities out there. Thank you, both of you.
Thank you. Can I just follow up on that and ask whether there's something more we can do with the data? Because we're reporting on the proportion of stop and searches. Have we got anywhere where we link that to what the outcomes are, and would that tell us anything?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you look at the data set that is produced by West Yorkshire Police for our com, it's amazing. You should see it. I'm very proud of it because we've got to a really good place, and I send it to the APCC as evidence of good practice because they've got a knowledge sharing hub. We break down, we've got stop and search, we've got it by age, so anyone who's a child, and intimate body parts, all that sort of stuff. But we've also got outcomes by race, but also by district. So we can see, so for example, we know in Bradford the proportion of South Asian people is about 40%, but actually the rate of stop and search I think is about 20%, maybe 17%. So there isn't any disproportionality in Bradford. But then you look at other places in West Yorkshire.
There is that tomorrow against white men.
Oh yes, against white men. I meant the Asian group. There is against white men, yeah, you're absolutely right. So that's the level of data that we've got, and if you want to see the com meeting, I think it's embedded in your papers, so you'll be able to just click the link, see the last com that we had in this room a couple of, I think it was last month. And the data set is on the WICA website, and it's there for everyone to see. It's all publicly available, and we'll send it to you if you want it, but it is really, really good to understand what is happening.
I think it's another one of those cases where a single bar chart does not represent the true picture, does it?
Yes.
Because you have the demographics and you have the related to outcomes. Because what's saying effectively, on the proportionality, use the related to demographics, and then on the percentages, if the outcomes are similar across those groups, it shows that it's evidence-led stop and search rather than anything else. I just think it provides important context.
Yeah, and it does offer you that district-wide data, so that it might be that you need to do work in a particular district or part of the district rather than across, but it's right. Disproportionality is, in many places, it's all men, more men than women stop, and then in some places like Bradford it's white men.
Thank you. I think Councillor Ferguson had a question.
Thanks, Chair. Is it okay if I pop back to an earlier item item 7, not an earlier item, but one that I missed this on our way through. It's the 4.52 domestic abuse section, and I'm interested in the Clare's Law item where requests are the highest have been at this point in time, and I wonder. I have a theory about why that might be, but I wonder if you have the story behind the rise in those figures, or are they just going up because it's more available, easily available for people, or people engaging with that? Why, I suppose I'm asking.
Yeah, so of course the public know more now about Clare's Law. I think West Yorkshire Police have also been really good at putting that information out. And so if you've been a victim of domestic abuse, of course, you're more likely to be re-victimised. And so victims get told about Clare's Law. So if you've been re-victimised, you're more likely to ask information about a new partner or even an existing partner, just so that you can get that information. But West Yorkshire Police, from quite a low base, have done a lot of work around Clare's Law, and as you can see, the data is showing that we're performing really well nationally as a result. But still more to do on DVPNs and DVPOs, because, you know, it can't be, we do loads of work up here, then this falls. It's like, how do we get that consistency across the piece?
Okay, thank you.
Could I also say with Alison, I mentioned the group of girls, and I think there's more reporting now comparing before, but 38 is quite high. But the feedback I had, they know about Clare's Law, and they know the topic before we come. So I think, Jackie, that's why it's increased the percentage so much, because, you know, because it's campaign and it's out there, whereas before it was a silent issue. So
yeah, but I do think West Yorkshire Police have been very proactive in when we get a victim of domestic abuse, telling them about Clare's Law. So more and more people, and we have, you know, over 50,000 domestic abuse cases a year, so that's a lot of people we're telling.
Yeah. Am I allowed to come back on that? Yeah. I mean, I think the ways that people meet people have changed. And so people meet more strangers these days on dating apps and things like that. And I think, you know, people that I know use Clare's Law when they use dating apps because they're meeting strangers. And I wonder if that might be part of.
Yeah, probably, absolutely, probably. People are just getting a bit more savvy, aren't they?
Just it's communicating out more now. You know, it's out there. And sorry, Chair, it's not, you're providing us with all these info, and we are sitting on it. But I urge members to talk about it in your community. You know, any groups share it. I do it in my group. I share everything because it's not for us to sit on. Some don't know like a website to go on, but just say there's a website you can go on and see the work, and people will report things, and you will get to communicate more in your community.
Thank you. Trevor?
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just a thought in my head when I sat on the audit and ethics, we had an excellent presentation on stop and search, proportionality, a really excellent presentation about all the background information that goes into the deployment decisions, which might be something for a future agenda item for members to give you some reassurance, further reassurance to the comments that have been raised. Might be something.
Yeah, and the IOPC did a report about 2.5 years ago about the stop and search and some of the tactics that police use, and from start to finish what happens, and some of the things that don't work well and end up with you know, some negative feedback for policing. And I think that would be a good sort of sister document to read alongside. I'll send it to you, I'll find it.
Thank you. Are there any further questions on this item? Thank you. We'll move on to item 8, which is the Mayor's response to any current issues.
Yeah, thank you very much. So just to reiterate that we had a very successful launch of the Police and Crime Plan, which we did alongside the Bar Introduction Partnerships Showcase, because obviously violence is now a key theme of this plan. So thank you to all for coming, and please do have a look at the plan and share it. I suggested that we send it to all the MPs as well, so that we get that buy-in from them. I'd like to announce the appointment of Kate Taylor as West Yorkshire Combined Authority's new Director of Finance, and she's the new Section 73 Chief Finance Officer. So we haven't got a start date yet, but hopefully she'll come to us soon. The Mayor Safer Communities Fund awards will be on the 17th of March. So this is the £1 million that West Yorkshire Police gave us from the Proceeds of Crime Act. The awards, the bid process started in December, closed in January. We had nearly 300 applications totalling £5 million for £1 million, which speaks to, I think, the innovation, the activity that's happening in our communities, but also the need, because obviously many other funding streams have been closed, and we I think are a really easy fund to bid into. So we'll know on the 17th of March who's got that money, and we're going to write to every councillor to tell you which projects in your areas have got that funding. That was Sharon's idea, so thank you, Sharon, for undertaking that piece of work. Again, funding for the VRP and Op General have been confirmed, so I'm just working through the detail, but we know that the VRP is stable, same as last year, which was a bit of a boost. We thought it'd be cut, but it wasn't. And then the neighbourhood policing grant we mentioned, I think at the last meeting, was that we've been given notice of £8.5 million as part of the neighbourhood policing grant, and we had to provide a report to the Home Office outlining what our intentions were with regard to that money. And hopefully, we haven't had confirmation that that's been accepted yet, but hopefully the panel will be pleased that what West Yorkshire Police have sought to do is increase the visibility of police officers in neighbourhood policing teams by taking out some of those officers who were doing or are still doing grey roles and putting them back on the front line in neighbourhood policing teams. So we're hoping to see an additional 100 police officers in our neighbourhood policing teams, and those grey roles that they've been filling recruited by police staff, which is good news because obviously there's a huge financial saving to the public and public purse in doing that. And then we also are going to go out and do a big recruitment exercise to recruit another 45 specials, which hopefully will begin to grow the number of specials which have declined over the last 5 or 6 years. So yeah, we'll wait to see whether or not the Home Office agrees that plan, and fingers crossed.
Thank you, Nancy. Could I just seek a little bit of clarity around that point on the neighbourhood policing grant? Is that for a single year, that £8.5 million?
We think it's recurrent.
Yeah.
It's recurrent, which is really, really good news. So part of the problem here in West Yorkshire was that at the point that we were asked for the baseline data for the 20,000 uplift that was done nationally, we had an inflated number of about just under 500 officers that we had recruited using monies that we thought were going to last a bit longer, savings we thought we were going to be bigger, and the plan was always to reduce that nearly 500 figure back down if our hopes about the money were not realised. Before we could do that, the uplift came in and we were asked for our baseline, and we had to include that artificial extra 500, which didn't really exist because they were a temporary resource that would, as police officers left, about 300 leave a year, we would have been quickly, over 18 months, able to get back down to steady state, but we have this temporary inflated number, which was great for West Yorkshire. We wanted to make sure that that happened. I was chair of the Police and Crime Panel at the time, so I remember all about it. But yeah, we were put in a difficult position, so that meant that we didn't get any credit for those nearly 500 officers. So we've been carrying 500 officers nearly that we didn't have ongoing funding for. So we're in a different position to most of the forces in the country. So the neighbourhood policing grant gives us the opportunity to transfer back to the front line the grey roles, but also to ease some of that burden of that additionality that we didn't get ongoing funding for. So our long-term financial position will ease.
Thank you. I think that the panel remember that we raised concerns about the reducing number of PCSOs in our precept discussions. Personally, I think this is a very smart use of this grant to get highly qualified and trained officers back out to doing what they should be doing, and hopefully that will reassure the panel and the public about the visibility of the police in our communities. So
and I did raise it with the neighbourhood policing team. I was in Keighley, I was in Bradford yesterday, and I mentioned it to officers and said, would you rather this or would you rather PCSOs? And they all were really delighted that we were going to get police officers. For lots of reasons, because obviously they've got wider powers, they can arrest, they can work all the shifts. So yeah, they did see this as a definite benefit.
Councillor Hayden.
Thank you, Chair. And I look forward to hearing about Round 7 Safe Communities Fund and what's going to be happening. At this stage, can you announce if there are any plans coming up for Round 8? And have you got any idea when that might be dropping?
Yeah, so we don't know how much it's going to be because we rely on West Yorkshire Police, obviously, and their brilliant economic crime unit to give us the funds, but we are publicising that we're going to open first week in June for a month, and obviously if we don't get the money before we're going out to go out to, then we'll have to do that, but at the minute we're hoping that it will be June, but the money won't be given till, I think the awards will be about October.
Thank you.
Any further questions from panel on this item? Well, agenda item 9 is for the panel to note the key decisions that are published on the Mayor's website since the last panel meeting on the 7th of February. Noted. Agenda item 10 is the... Oh, sorry. Yes, action one. Agenda item 10, the read action one. So, I think the panel just wanted to raise a couple of items of which are drawing a little bit of concern. One is 5.9.1, correlating the increase in volume of traffic with the numbers of KSI on our roads. And the other one was 6.9.1, providing comparisons to other forces and the profile of ASB.
Yeah, so if I take the second one first, I think we've described why it's not possible to, up to now, it's not been possible to give you the comparison with the courses because the data set's just not there, but that will change as a result of the new ASB framework, as I described earlier, and hopefully then we'll get the we'll get the data that you want. And then the profile of ASB, I don't think I understand that, but should we take that?
The other one is the road traffic.
Oh yeah, I know that, but it was, they asked to yeah, so the road traffic thing, so Neil's not here. I don't know if we can tell you what the level of traffic is and compare that to the KSI, but I think they're looking into it. And obviously when we had lockdown and nobody was on the roads, we had hardly any KSI, so there is definitely a correlation, but yeah. I'll leave that to greater minds than that.
They're looking into it, but it is a new piece of work, so it's just taking a bit longer, but I'm told something by the next panel.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Are there any further questions or notes on this item? Thank you. Item 11 is the forward agenda plan. For the panel's information, any comments? Item 12 is complaints received by the panel. I'm pleased to say there's no new complaints being received. Item 13, ALB. There's no ALB has been submitted. And the final item is the date and time of the next meeting. So the next panel meeting.
It'll be 11, just go for it.
Friday the 11th of April 2025. Thank you to everybody and have the rest of a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.